Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to be talking with you about a procedure, an exercise really, that you're going to be using for three of your stepping stone activities. For three of your stepping stone activities, you will be selecting sources. Each one, for each stepping stone, you'll select four new sources that you have found that you beneficial for your research, for your study. If you'll recall in the introduction video, I talked about critical thinking and about the importance of learning to synthesize information. What we don't want is to simply summarize or list, if you will, findings from each of your sources and then try to somehow smush them together magically to make sense in your lit review. Because then you have information that's scattered between all 12 of your sources, but nothing that holds together as main ideas or themes for your lit review. There's an activity called Generate, Sort, Connect, Elaborate. It is an extra step, but what it will do is help you to look at your sources four at a time and then maybe adding your next four and seeing some connections rather than waiting until you have all 12 sources and then trying to make sense of all 12 of them and finding themes and similar ideas that you can build your foundation of your research and then create a thesis statement. So this is what you're going to do. And I'll have these directions in the stepping stone activities. It's a way of showing your thinking, visual thinking model. So I did a mock search. My topic for my research is I want to know how modeling can be used to help students with autism improve their classroom transitions. So I began searching the literature. The first source I found tells me, and I'll back up a minute. What you're going to do is for each of your sources, write one or two main ideas that you found in the source. My first source, the findings indicated that peer modeling of social interactions, when accompanied with a social story, improved basic greetings for students with autism. They also found that social stories alone did not have the same impact as combining them with peer modeling. Okay, those are my first two. That's my first article. My second article involved classroom transitions. First article was basic social interactions. Second article did a study with classroom transitions. And this is really where I see students having a lot of difficulty. The first idea I wrote from the findings of this article or source is that students with autism showed improvement during classroom transitions with peer modeling. The second idea from that source, their finding, is that students with autism learned to observe peers during classroom transitions without cues, which I thought was huge. My third source was about modeling, but then this study used peer or video modeling. The two ideas I wrote from this source, from their findings, video modeling of classroom transitions with the use of a social story improve performance with students with autism. Okay. They also found that video modeling of classroom transitions was successful at proving skills for students with autism even without the social story. That made me think, okay, that's even better, because then a teacher or a para doesn't have to be there all the time to read the social story. But the video modeling was enough. And my fourth source that I found also used video modeling because I was really interested in this. And they found that video modeling using peers was no more effective than using non-peers, which made me happy to hear that, because that means that I could make one video model, and even though they weren't peers of that particular student at that time, it didn't matter. And then the last idea from my fourth source, students positively responded to a cue to view the video model on their own iPads. So just by a teacher saying, click your video, they were able to watch the video themselves with only that verbal cue. Well, this is great because now I have ideas, 2 ideas that I wrote down from all 4 of my sources. But there's still 4 separate sources. So your next task is going to be sorting them. So I could sort on the basis of, social interactions. I just had one on social interactions. I could sort by sources that studies that used peer models, video models, and sources that used non-peer models. I could sort that way. And then I could also sort by cueing techniques that were needed or how students were successful without them. So I played around and I can sort. Once I've decided how I was going to sort them, now you're not sorting just from one source, you're taking all 4 articles and you're sorting. So you might have cards from article 1, 3, and 4 all together because they all talk about the same thing. The studies had similar findings. The last thing then that you're going to do is synthesize that information into a few salient thoughts. So these are the thoughts that I was able to synthesize after I sorted. Students with autism improved classroom transitions after viewing a video model. Second, students were able to select a video with one verbal cue, meaning on their own iPad with a verbal cue, they could watch it. And thirdly, I synthesized the need for social stories to accompany videos did not improve student performance, which was important to me because that means a paraprofessional or myself didn't have to be with that student to read that social story. So now instead of having notes only, and you're going to be writing notes, but notes from 4 separate sources, I now have 3 synthesized themes or topics that I was able to pull together from these 4 sources. Then the next time I do a stepping stone and gather my next 4 sources, I'll have 4 more. And I will be able to do the same process, but then I might be able to say, oh, this source had similar findings to one I did from Stepping Stone 1. By the time you finish the 3 stepping stones, you're going to have a wonderful start on establishing the themes for your lit review. I will put this into the stepping stone directions but I wanted you to have a chance to see what it would actually look like. And then what you're going to do is include in your stepping stone assignment, you can put a picture of your cards. You can do a screenshot if you did it on your laptop, but you're going to show me the evidence for this process. Good luck.